the Department of Justice has recovered some of the millions paid in ransom to the hackers who disrupted one of the nation's biggest gas line operations. Talking about those vulnerabilities. In just about an hour, the CEO of that company, it's called Colonial Pipeline, will answer questions about this massive cyber breach in back-to-back congressional hearings. The attack last month triggered panic buying and gas shortages across the Southeast. Jeff Pegues has more on the clue that helped FBI investigators hack the hackers.
The old adage, follow the money, still applies.
Follow the money is exactly what the FBI did last month when Colonial Pipeline paid about $4.3 million worth of Bitcoin to Russian hacking group DarkSide after its malware was used to hold the company hostage.
The sophisticated use of technology to hold businesses and even whole cities hostage for profit is decidedly a 21st century challenge.
Newly released court documents show that investigators used digital fingerprints to track those funds to an online wallet for DarkSide. The FBI then obtained the wallet's private key to recover about $2.3 million.
The extortionists will never see this money.
Around $2 million of the money paid has yet to be recovered, and the Bureau is still investigating more than 100 types of ransomware, including last week's hack that stalled operations for meat distributor JBS. As President Biden's administration looks at how to respond to cybercriminals, Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm said this week on Meet the Press that she supports banning companies from paying hackers.
Paying of ransomware only exacerbates and accelerates this problem. You are encouraging the bad actors when that happens.
Despite this week's success, recovery may not be possible for all paid ransoms.
We cannot guarantee, and we may not be able to do this in every instance.
And Jeff is here with us to talk about this. So, Jeff, we mentioned earlier that Colonial Pipeline CEO will testify before the House and Senate Homeland Security committees today about the attack. What do we expect these committees to go after him about? What do we expect them to ask him? What's the goal?
Well, they will want to know why the company paid that ransom. What was the decision-making process in paying that ransom? Because you heard there, U.S. officials believe that, it is not the right thing to pay that ransom because what it does is incentivize these cyber criminals. And so, I expect that he'll get questions along those lines, but he'll also, in some sectors perhaps be applauded for working with law enforcement in this case, because that's really what made the difference in terms of getting some of Colonial Pipeline's money back.
What exactly are the digital fingerprints that investigators used to find the money?
Well, in this case, according to U.S. officials, there were addresses that were used to send the money, like addresses that you might see online. And because investigators were in on this case early on, they were able to track the flow of the money through some of these addresses, which eventually led to this digital wallet, which is a term that I learned yesterday from DOJ officials that really stood out to me. This is a digital wallet that, according to U.S. investigators, DarkSide, which is the cyber gang behind this breach, it was a cyber wallet that they were using not only to store Colonial Pipeline money, but U.S. officials say they identified about 90 other victims or so. And so the addresses that they used really paid off for investigators as they were able to track the flow of this money.
So this was the Justice Department's ransomware task force, and it was their first successful recovery. Didn't know that this task force existed, Jeff. So what is this task force, or who is this task force made up of, and what exactly is their mission?
Well, DOJ announced this task force last week, and here's the thinking behind it. It's just a way of streamlining coordination between agencies as they track down these cyber criminals. What DOJ officials are trying to do is treat these ransomware cases more like they treat terrorism investigations, and in those investigations, the priority in a lot of cases is to follow the money. And if you start treating these ransomware cases in that manner, you're going to be able to recover some of the money that has been stolen, and that's what investigators are trying to do. And so they are changing their approach to how they investigate these cases. And I think that announcement yesterday was to demonstrate that they believe, U.S. officials believe, that that approach is working.
The FBI also said DarkSide's ransomware is just one of more than 100 ransomware variants that the agency is investigating. Have they said just how widespread this problem really is and what to look out for?
It's a huge problem. And I think, you guys were talking about these websites going down today. I think people are a little jittery, because what we've seen over the last week or so is really what appears to be this constant revelation of these cyber attacks, these ransomware attacks. And what it is that, we're essentially publicizing these attacks more, and the nature of these attacks has intensified, because when they went after Colonial Pipeline and people saw those gas lines, it was the kind of ransomware attack that the average person in this country could see and could feel it impacting them. And so now the pressure is on government to do more to try to stop these ransomware attacks on critical infrastructure specifically from happening.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much.
My pleasure.